A United States Navy attack submarine has sunk the Iranian warship IRIS Dena in the Indian Ocean. It represents the first confirmed instance of an American submarine destroying a surface warship since World War II. It is also the first such submarine attack anywhere in the world since 1982, when the HMS Conqueror of the Royal Navy torpedoed and sank the Argentine cruiser ARA General Belgrano during the Falklands War. Out of around 180 crew, 79 people were rescued after Sri Lanka Navy responded to a distress call from the ship. Secretary Pete Hegseth said at a press conference, "Yesterday in the Indian Ocean, an American submarine sunk an Iranian warship that thought it was safe in international waters. Instead, sunk by a torpedo, quiet death." During the same briefing, Caine, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, stated that the strike was conducted by an unspecified fast-attack submarine that launched a single Mark 48 torpedo, which struck and sank the target. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why IRIS Dena was a sitting duck for the Mark 48 torpedo. Before we proceed, a word on NordVPN, which is one of the most trusted and fastest VPN brand that has a no-log policy validated by Deloitte. NordVPN provides a 256-bit encrypted tunnel that protects your privacy and also enables you to access contents that are blocked based on geolocation. Its threat protection system helps you avoid phishing, scams, and malware. NordVPN application is available for all the major platforms as well as browsers. Get an exclusive NordVPN deal with massive saving by going to nordvpn.com/defense or clicking the link in the description. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The IRIS Dena was one of the newest surface combatants in the fleet of the Islamic Republic of Iran Navy. Commissioned in 2021, the warship belongs to the Muj-class frigate, a class of domestically built vessels developed from the earlier Ulvan design. These ships represent Iran's effort to maintain an indigenous naval shipbuilding capability despite decades of international sanctions and limited access to foreign technology. IRIS Dena was designed as a multi-role guided missile frigate capable of conducting patrols, escort missions, and maritime security operations. The vessel is estimated to displace around 1,500 tons and measure roughly 94 meters in length. To give viewers a perspective, the Arleigh Burke class has a displacement of about 8,300 to 9,700 tons and a length of around 155 meters. Like other ships of its class, IRIS Dena was equipped with a combination of anti-ship missiles, naval guns, torpedoes, and air defense systems, allowing it to engage both surface and aerial threats. For anti-submarine warfare, it was mainly dependent on the Bell 212 ASW helicopter. The ship carried reasonably modern radar and electronic warfare equipment intended to improve situational awareness and defensive capability in contested waters. One of Dena's most notable achievements came in 2022, when it participated in a long-distance deployment with the Iranian support ship IRIS Makran. During that mission, the two vessels completed a circumnavigation of the globe, sailing through multiple oceans and visiting foreign ports. The voyage was presented by Tehran as a demonstration of Iran's ability to operate far from its home waters and sustain long-range naval deployments. IRIS Dena was returning from Visakhapatnam, India. India hosted 3 major maritime events simultaneously in Visakhapatnam: the International Fleet Review 2026, Milan 2026, and the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium Conclave. Together, these gatherings brought naval forces and maritime leaders from numerous countries to participate in fleet displays, joint exercises, and strategic discussions focused on cooperation, regional maritime security, and interoperability among navies operating across the Indian Ocean region. The exercise had 74 participating nations, 85 warships, including 19 from friendly foreign nations, making it the largest maritime gathering India has ever hosted. Foreign warships, including IRIS Dena, docked in Visakhapatnam and took part in ceremonial activities, harbor phase engagements, and joint exercises with other navies. After the exercises and ceremonies concluded, the Iranian warship departed Visakhapatnam and began its return voyage toward Iran. The ship sailed westward across the Bay of Bengal into the Indian Ocean, likely following one of the standard maritime routes used by ships transiting between South Asia and the Middle East. At this stage, the frigate was no longer part of the exercise. It was simply returning home after the multinational event. While transiting the Indian Ocean, IRIS Dena reached waters south of Sri Lanka near Caine. On March 4th, it was intercepted and torpedoed by the U.S. Navy submarine, which sank the vessel in a few minutes. It is to be noted here that a warship is supposed to be armed and on vigil, even if it is going to an event. This is especially true for Iranian vessels, as conflict was looming. Another aspect is that once it entered international waters, India had no obligation to escort it. The U.S. Navy operates 3 classes of fast attack submarines: Los Angeles, SSN 688 class, Seawolf class, and Virginia, SSN 774 class. All 3 of these classes are nuclear-powered, enabling unlimited range and endurance, limited only by food and maintenance needs. While 62 Los Angeles-class submarines were built, most are retired, and only around 2 dozen remain active. 3 Seawolf-class submarines were built, and all of these are active. Virginia-class, meant to replace Los Angeles-class, is currently the primary fast attack submarine of the U.S. Navy, with around 24 subs being in active service. All 3 types have the capability to launch Mark 48 torpedoes, but as per the latest info, it was a Los Angeles sub. Retired Navy Captain Thomas Shugart confirmed to Task and Purpose that a Los Angeles-class fast attack submarine carried out this attack. The Mark 48 torpedo is a heavyweight torpedo designed for use by modern submarines. It measures roughly 19 feet, 5.8 meters, in length and 21 inches, 533 millimeters in diameter, which matches the standard size of submarine torpedo tubes used by many American and Allied submarines. Depending on the variant, the weapon weighs between 1.5 and 1.7 tons. Its warhead carries approximately 650 pounds, about 295 kilograms, of high explosive, a payload powerful enough to destroy or severely damage large surface combatants. The design emphasizes a balance between speed, range, and destructive power, making it one of the most capable torpedoes in service. Production and modernization of the Mark 48 have involved several U.S. defense contractors, with Lockheed Martin leading many recent upgrade programs. Other companies provide propulsion components, electronics, and specialized subsystems. Although developed for the United States Navy, the torpedo is also operated by several Allied navies, including those of Australia, Canada, Brazil, the Netherlands, and Taiwan, each of which fields its own variants. The Mark 48 is launched from a submarine using a swim-out method, which allows it to leave the torpedo tube quietly without a large burst of compressed air that could reveal the submarine's location. After entering the water, the torpedo activates and begins searching for its target. It is powered by a piston engine that burns Otto Fuel 2, a single-component liquid propellant that provides efficient propulsion and long operational endurance. Later variants replace the traditional propeller with a pump jet propulsor, which reduces noise and improves efficiency at high speeds, making the weapon harder to detect underwater. This propulsion system allows the torpedo to operate both rapidly and quietly, enabling it to close on targets at high speed or approach more stealthily when necessary. As a result, the Mark 48 is effective in both deep ocean engagements and complex coastal environments. Guidance is achieved through a combination of wire guidance and acoustic homing. Immediately after launch, a thin wire connects the torpedo to the submarine, allowing the crew to transmit updated target information or adjust the torpedo's course during the attack. If the wire is severed, the torpedo continues the mission autonomously. Its onboard sonar can operate in passive mode, listening for the noise of ships or submarines, or in active mode, emitting sonar pulses and tracking the returning echoes. Advanced digital processing enables the weapon to distinguish between real targets, decoys, and background noise, helping it maintain lock even in the presence of countermeasures. While many specifications remain classified, open sources suggest the Mark 48 can reach speeds above 100 kilometers per hour, about 63 miles per hour, and strike targets at ranges approaching 24 miles, around 38 kilometers. The original Mark 48 entered service around 1972, though its early versions were limited by the electronics available at the time. In the 1980s, the U.S. Navy introduced the Mark 48 ADCAP, Advanced Capability Upgrade, which incorporated faster processing systems, improved sonar sensors, and enhanced software to track increasingly quiet submarines. A major improvement arrived with the Mod 7 CBAS, Common Broadband Advanced Sonar System variant, developed jointly with Australia. This upgrade introduced a broadband sonar suite capable of detecting, classifying, and tracking multiple targets in complex underwater environments. It also improved resistance to modern countermeasures and enhanced performance in shallow or noisy coastal waters. The Mod 7 CBAS remains the current operational standard, with ongoing software improvements and quieter propulsion technologies continuing to refine the system's capabilities. If we see the footage, the submarine got very close to IRIS Dena. While Los Angeles class is old, the first sub having entered service in 1976, it is still pretty stealthy. For reference, several Chinese sources reported that the People Liberation Army Navy's Type 093 sub, which entered service in 2006, has the same noise level as the Los Angeles. So IRIS Dena was up against it. It neither had a very sophisticated anti-sub warfare system, nor had any escort, and its route was more or less known. When it comes to the Mark 48 torpedo, it is a deadly weapon. Against surface ships, it usually detonates beneath the keel. The explosion creates a massive gas bubble that can snap the ship's hull and sink it almost instantly. The torpedo can search in patterns, change depth, and circle back for another attack if it misses the first time. Its mix of guidance modes gives it flexibility in complex situations, whether hunting deep underwater or near the surface. The raw power of the warhead means that even a vessel 5 to 10 times size of IRIS Dena could be sunk by a single hit. The Mark 48 gives U.S. submarines a reliable, powerful weapon that shapes how they operate in contested waters. This event shows that U.S. Navy submarines armed with Mark 48s can threaten enemy fleets far from home. This is the reason the U.S. Navy continues to invest in Mark 48 upgrades, and even after 50 years, it is far from obsolete. The event shows how critical torpedo-armed submarines remain, even in an era of drones and long-range missiles.